So welcome everybody to another episode of the Brewmasters Club cast. Here is what you have to look forward to in tonight's episode.
The Fargo Brewing Company Wood Chipper IPA.
No. Yeah, dude, you should hear the story on that one, man. I can tell it. If you
What's the cliffhanger?
Klaus, do you want to role play the salespeople and Ryan for the table?
Yes.
We don't have
Impromptu
to
role play. I'm down.
If it's about the asses, we can get more in there, but we'll take more.
I love how you just equated Madden to No Man's Sky, because now I'm sold.
I'm talking about you out there. You know, I don't like it. That was in some guy's itinerary. He's like, say this line and then be like, hope someone has an idea. Like, pause for ideas.
Where the fuck do we go from here?
The agenda on that spreadsheet has said ideation? ?
We find out that Leia has the Force within her.
And is a witch.
So Voldemort is dead, but is he really? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, he died under a bus station, dude. We were all there.
Crazy mother.
Welcome to the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. Sit back, pour yourself a pint, and let's get into it. Now here's the founder of the Brewmasters Club and your host, Donnie Gallagher.
Welcome, craft beer. My name is Donnie, and this is the official Brewmasters Club podcast, Craft Brews and Geek News, where we talk about national stories, local flavors, and our favorite geeky nuggets of pop culture. How are you? I am joined by three of us completely, but two lovely and smoking hot gentlemen here. Jesus, I don't know why I said that. Lausman, how are you, sir? Yeah, we got it. It's the Mark Wahlberg thing. I don't know. Is he smoking hot anymore? I feel like he's too old now. Do people think he's hot? I don't know. Tweet Ryan. Anyways, Laus, how are you, man?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm very far from home today. As many of you might have heard from, I think I mentioned it last week, that I am quite far from home. I'm reporting in from Fargo, North Dakota.
Well, welcome, Mr. Lausman. Good to have you. Rye Guy, how are you?
Well, before we move on to me, I just want to point out that Lausman is actually accompanied by Elsa in the background of his...
Oh, you don't even want to know.
He's got a couple special guests, I think.
Yeah. Wait.
Just throwing it out there. And Sven, I see. So
Well, you forgot about Mark. This is bad video, but I'm doing this podcast from a little girl's room. It was the only house or the only room available. So we've got Mark the Moose here. He just singing along. Yeah. We're gonna talk with him later. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Mark
in Fargo, doing a little rest and relaxation, right?
Yes, I'm surrounded by 4 cornfields right now, and that's awesome. Soybeans and sugar beets. So
that's good.
Yep.
Did you guys get a new table?
Yeah, dude, you should hear the story on that one, man. I can tell it.
Quite the cliffhanger. Yeah, I was expecting it, but I didn't necessarily pay for it. So you're quite the.
I was making sure you were with me. So we go to Ashley Furniture. There's so much to this story. We're looking for new beds for the kids. They're each going to get their own little bookshelf, twin-size bed. Goes on either side of the room. We're doing the floors upstairs, all that fun stuff. So we find the perfect match at Ashley, which that's a good place to go. They have this July 4th month thing where it's like 50% off plus an additional 10% and everything. So we go there to pay for the beds. We get this great deal. It's like $1,700 or whatever. We see this table. We're like, wow, that's really nice. I go to the guy I'm talking to. His name's Joe. Nice guy. I said, how much for this table? So he goes, well, let me find out. So he goes to the computer, starts typing it in. And he comes back and he's like, hey, man, I don't know how much that table is. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, I can't find it in my system. I said, how can't you find it in the system? He goes to his manager. The manager comes over and they end up telling us, well, this actually hasn't even been tagged yet, but it's a discontinued floor model. I'm like, okay, how much is it? I don't care if it's discontinued. I just want to know how much it is. They go, well,
Right.
it's normally $1,300. I said, okay, so how much is it for me? I'm spending, $1,700 here. How much is it for me? They come back at me. They go, it's $500 out the door. And I said, all right, I'm going to tell my wife. She's like, I think we should do it. And I said, well, I think we should too. But I'm going to see if they'll go a little bit lower. So I go to the guy and I said, look, if you'll take 4 for that right now, I will add it onto my order and I will leave with it right now. Because mind you, it hasn't even been tagged. Like, nobody even knows this table's for sale, discontinued, nothing. He goes to his manager, comes back. He says, you can have it for $400. Put it on the list. We'll take it right now. Loaded it up in my truck and left with it that day. $420 for a $1,300 table. It's got a wine rack on the side, which I probably could age some beer in instead of wine. And four chairs. I had crazy stuff around here in my last couple weeks off. So
yeah, that's great.
That's the story of how I ended up with this Southern style table and chairs.
Klaus, do you want to role play the salespeople and Ryan for the table and chairs?
Yes.
We don't have
Impromptu role play. I'm down.
But I mean, this story I feel like just kind of calls for it.
Yeah, no, we can. Who you want to be? You let me pick past
you can pick. Do you want to be the big manager or you want to be the sales guy?
You know what? I'm gonna be the big manager. I'll be that guy.
Okay.
I'll wear that hat that I'm wearing.
All right. So are we doing a phone call or are we just gonna
Goose Fraba?
No, this is gonna be in person.
Well, this all took place in person, so we gotta.
It's gotta be that way.
We got.
Gotta be that way.
All right. So I'll be the loosey goosey sales guy.
You're gonna be Joe, and actually, Joe, Ashley Furniture on US 19. Joe, this is a shout out and a tribute to you, my friend. So you did great.
I don't know how we're doing this now, but all right. What did Joe look like? Describe Joe.
Black hair,
older man, younger man,
younger, like 23, 24, maybe. I don't know. Could have been older.
Mr. Brew Boy, this is all. Thanks for shopping at Ashley Furniture today. We hope you have a great, enjoy your furniture.
Hey, Joe. Hey, I appreciate, you let me come in here. You said you give us free shipping. You're going to match the online pricing, which is awesome. It's 50% off plus an additional 10 on my. You already know what to do. So
yeah, speed it up, buddy. I got other customers.
What's that?
Not sure. It's in our system yet, but let me take a look. Looks like a table to me. I'm not sure.
It's got a couple of chairs to it too, right? At least 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice, man. Real nice.
All right. Well, I don't find it in the system, so let me ask my manager.
Wait, before you do that, let me ask Ashley because she's here. I don't know if she likes it. Hey, Ash, you like that table and chairs? Oh yeah. Wait,
yeah, I like it a lot.
I kind of need her on this one. Yeah, I like it. All right, Joe. Find out how much that is.
Yeah, all right, thanks. Let me ask my manager, Mac.
Numbers. Oh, yeah.
Is this table I couldn't find in the system? Is it a
$20? $20? Nope.
No, not.
Okay.
$20. I'll take it.
Said it was $1,300 at one point in time.
It is $1,300. Yep. Out the door. $1,325. Yep. Just for you.
Right, sir. Would you like $1,325 for this table?
Well, wait, Joe. No, you told me that was a discontinued floor model, man. That's not $1,300. That's been on the floor for months, man. People's asses have sat on that chair. Look, I can see an aspirin right there.
And I know you're after those asses, so $1,475, and no, not a penny more.
You just went up from 13 to 14.
Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? Well, I'll get it out the door for $500 then.
Let me ask my wife something real quick.
There's not going to be another Tuesday.
It's Thursday, but I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Yeah. The guy said we can have this table, guys. The guy said that we could have this table and these 4 chairs for $500. I think I can talk him down to 4. Babe, you do whatever you think you can do. That's more of an Ashley thing right there.
I probably shouldn't be in this conversation, so I'm just gonna step away. You guys didn't see me. I was just overhearing. I couldn't help. I'm a huge fan of overhearing. I got those big goofy style earmuffs with one of those giant boom things with a dog toy at the end of it. It's fine. I'm just gonna leave. I'll be over here.
I'm gonna go talk to Joe. Joe's gonna come see you in a second, okay?
Yep. Well, I'll be getting some coffee.
Hey, Joe, I talked to my wife. She loves it. She wants to leave with it today. If I leave with this right now, meaning like we draw everything up, I give you the credit card, we go to bada bing, bada boom, and then give me the sheet, and it's like out the door.
What sort of drawing? We're talking like a horse?
I thought you were getting. I thought you were getting coffee.
Sorry. Yeah, I forgot my mug.
You guys can just work it out. I should really go on break. It's
No, Joe. I want you to go get your manager that's getting coffee right now.
He's here.
I'm back.
I want you to ask him.
I got a camel pack full of coffee.
Tell him I will take this floor model with those ass cheeks sitting on the $400.
Sir, you heard the man.
We can get some more asses in there.
400, Joe. 400, Joe.
If it's about the asses, we can get more in there. But we'll take more. Yeah, get it out of my site. Yep.
And scene. That's it. That was painful.
Yeah.
You know what? But that's what good ad-libbing is right there.
Painful?
Yeah.
Painful in some cases. That was great, actually. Well done. Joe, you don't sound like a 13-year-old girl, but
neither do I. So, but I heard that did enable you as we kick off right into our first segment. Now, what are you drinking? What are you going to drink? And I heard you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I have a lot. Yeah, I do have a lot to talk about. So I've been trying to get to as many craft beer or craft breweries up here in Minnesota. I don't know what the best way to do this would be because I've got a lot of beers and I've got a very limited amount of time. So
How about this? Let me go first, and then you do one, and then Ryan do one, then go back to you, then I'll do one, then you can do a couple more. Is that all right?
Deal.
I wanted to kick it off only because, Ryan, I know that you've tried it and it actually came out pretty well, but I got a vanilla porter from Breckenridge Brewing Company, which happens to be in Colorado, where we will be for the Great American Beer Fest. We will get into that shortly. But I just wanted to bring this up because, Ryan, when I shared with you the vanilla porter that I brewed, I saw this in the liquor store week after week after week and never tried it. Because of the recent trip that we've all booked or that we've planned to book for Great American Beer Fest, I had to just try it out and taste it. Honestly, I'm drinking it now. I enjoy it. I think that mine is better for me than that. This one has a lot of vanilla. It's very sweet. It's very heavy. It's bulky. It's got a really great vanilla feel to it, but it just kind of and it's very drinkable. It's a wonderful beer, but mine had a little bit more snap to it, a little more crisp taste, and it was a dry finish. I really like that in my porter, and this just doesn't have it. So interesting, but again, a very sweet, a lush, drinkable, rich porter, vanilla porter. Again, that's vanilla porter from Breckenridge Brewing. So I just wanted to try it just to compare it, but I do like it. Mine was drier, and that's what I liked about it.
Well, it could have been that there was a different yeast used too. That some yeasts finish more dry than others. But to that point, I do enjoy that beer, but when you brew your own, it's always going to take the place of what you're used to, what you're fancy to, and things of that nature. So that's too part of it. But yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to take us off with that. But Laos, let us know what your first fancy is there.
So the first two I'd like to talk about is actually by a brewery called let's see here.
How much of that variety pack is left?
That would be none. The first one I would like to talk about is Shirley Brewing. They are based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And their whole kind of, I'm going to kind of go a broad spectrum here. Their whole kind of feel is they just sort of do beers a little differently. And I know that's the whole name of the game when it comes to craft beers, but I got the variety pack. It's fantastic. I've actually liked them all, even their Kolsch. Their Kolsch actually does not taste like a Kolsch, and that's the first Kolsch I've ever enjoyed. However, they've got an extra citrusy Shirley beer. That one's called the Extra Citra Pale Ale. That's a good one. Their IPA is fantastic. I'm currently drinking on their other red, which is, they like to say that it's not really a red. It's not quite an imperial. It's not quite what else do they say? Not quite a amber. It's kind of a mix of all of those, and it actually tastes really good. This one I might be bringing back on the plane. But huge fan of that. How fast can I go through these? All right.
We'll go through. Save a couple because Ryan's going to go, and then you can talk about a couple more. But I just wanted to know: is that of all the breweries you tried up there, is that your favorite one? Is that what you got that pack?
I'm actually going in order of least to most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so least to most right now. Those are the two from Shirley Brewing. And then let me just do one more, and then we can move on to a different brewery, or we can move on to Ryan, and then we'll come back for for some more of me. So the next one I want to talk about is the Shy Giant from Fernzian, and they're actually based out of Sioux Falls, North Dakota. This one was fantastic. Coming in at their IPA coming in at 7%. Just a good all-around IPA. Not too thick. It gets cold up here. It's not like soup or anything like that, but something you can drink after a long day of fishing and not catching anything except for that one perch that you kind of caught foul hooking. So it's a great.
Sounds a little personal.
Yeah, it was oddly personal, but fantastic little beer. I do like it. It's really neat to get something that's like so southeastern South Dakota, because South Dakota is a kind of weird state because so much of it is right on the state line, or at least so much that I've experienced, that you get a lot of Minnesota beers, you get a lot of South Dakota beers. I haven't really had anything from North Dakota. I think they're just too far up there. So that's it for right now. And I'll check back in with you guys later on the rest of my beers. But Ryan, what'd you get?
Nowhere near as much as you.
Trust me. I agree.
I actually, so I've been a big fan of all these grocery market the last couple of weeks, and I've tried numerous amounts of their beer, but this one I've not tried. And surprisingly enough, they do carry really good craft beer. So, make it to an Aldi's, try some. This one is Folded Mountains Brewery, and it's brewed up in New York. It's their pale ale. It's an amber pale ale. It's actually very, very good. I'm not sure what else to liken it to other than if you took Motorworks IPA, obviously took out the amount of hops, make it a little bit, lower there in IBUs. But if you took that maltiness that Motorworks IPA has and clear it up a little bit, it kind of gives you that same freshness, that same malt forward flavor as a pale ale. It's really actually very good. Comes in at 5.3%, pours clear, and I've actually been really enjoying this beer. So that's what I brought to the table. I know it's from Aldi's, but don't knock it till you try it, to be honest with you. And it gets a 3.5 on Beer Advocate. So yeah, I like it.
Have you referenced the Motorworks beer? Do you think that one is particularly stand out? Like I remember drinking that beer and I never was like, oh man, that's one for the books. I really just didn't love it.
So when I first started drinking craft beer, obviously not too long ago, a couple of years, I really was a big fan of Big Storm's Arcus because it was, I think, a very malt forward IPA. I drank that a lot, but then I found Motorworks, and I enjoyed the maltiness of the beer with the hops for whatever reason. And I drank that. I switched from Arcus to Motorworks, and I much preferred that flavor. I don't think my taste buds really knew all of the different flavors that IPAs had to offer, or even beers had to offer at that time. But that to me is part of my beer journey. So yeah. That's why I can say, hey, this is similar, and so I can go back to it and kind of break it apart, if that makes sense.
I still think the Arcus is one of my favorite IPAs. I really like it. I don't like Motorworks at all. And Motorworks is the actual name of the brewery, right? That's
Motorworks Brewery. Yep. Down in Sarasota. Yep.
Down in Sarasota. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, but that's good. I mean, I know they're all the beer fests that we go to, and I do support them. I just they're just not my go-to. If I had the choice of the two, I'd grab the Arcus. But
there's different ways to brew an IPA, and if you took the highlight, they're more of a lighter malt. They're not very malty. There are other. I mean, you could take along the lines of a red IPA and say that it's more malty. Yeah, because there's a caramel blend to it. So
right,
that's going to give it its red flavor or its red look. So there's a comparison, there's a contrast, there's a different level of IPA, which I think makes everything very distinct in nature. There's some that are sessionable. So, and they kind of like feel like they're disintegrating in your mouth. There's really not a lot to them, but they're hoppy and they're delicious. So, for this pale ale, that's why I was equating it to the Motorworks, because it's that minus the amount of hops, minus the IBUs. So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. No, that's good. Good. Well, good intake. Lost Man, do you want to finish off yours? You want me to go next?
Yeah, I'd like to just chime in with two more, and then we can keep
I
rolling.
feel like he's like like a ton of fireworks behind the camera, just like ready to go off.
Yeah, we're getting there. So this is actually the next two that I have are from the Fargo Brewing Company. Now, to anybody who knows Fargo, you think of just that one movie. You're not far off.
Jeez,
Um,
that wood chopper, by the way, still to this day ruins me if I see that movie.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the next one I have up actually for grabs here is the Fargo Brewing Company Wood Chipper IPA.
Of course it is. Isn't that a staple in the movie? I mean,
Wow.
Absolutely is. If you ever get up to Fargo, I do recommend going to see the. I have not seen it yet. I have it planned for the next couple days, but I will be seeing the actual wood chipper from the movie.
No way.
That is apparently a thing that you can go see up here. It's very fascinating.
Please
little
take
world.
pictures and post that on the Facebook page, please.
Okay, that's a good call. I should bring one of these and do that.
you little world
yes.
traveler.
Yeah, no, I'm quite the world traveler. I'm very far away in Fargo, but I do have an issue with the Fargo wood chipper or Fargo Brewing Company wood chipper IPA. It actually was a little abrasive. It's an IPA that you can almost taste for some reason like wood in it. Like I think they just went really heavy with some of the I in some point in the process with some sort of wood or something like that because it was just a very abrasive. It almost tasted like a red, and just wasn't about that. But it's cool. It's a good one to have. I mean, try it. Obviously, if you ever get up here, try everything.
Can you bring some home?
I don't know if I can do that, but I'll try.
Did you fly or drive?
I flew, so
Suitcase.
I don't
Well, we
We'll
know some people that do drive by biannually, so we can definitely bring some down if we need to have a Dane Mert, Cold Mountain kind of situation happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Just saying.
We
That sounds
can-
awesome.
The next one, I actually have questions for you guys on. So this is actually one that I got to try just earlier today. It is the Fargo Brewing Company, yet again, their Kenny's Lemonade Radler. I've never heard of a Radler.
Radler, yeah.
What is that?
So it's like a shandy, where it's like a fruit beer.
Okay. What?
What?
Just random gigs?
No, I was thinking that I was thinking as soon as Donnie said that it was a shandy, you'd have been like, oh, but no, you're not. Yeah.
Well, I tried it. Here's the deal. I actually tried it, and it actually was pretty refreshing. So I had just gotten off of a four-wheeler, and and so I reached for one of these because I heard good things about it. And a Radler, actually kind of nice. It was 3.4 ABV. That's not bad. I mean, that's better than some out there. And basically all they did is they took their lager on this one and they just added sparkling lemonade. So
see, that's
awesome.
that's typically what a shandy is. They will literally take lemonade and a lager or a blonde ale or whatever, and they'll mix it with a lemonade or a lemon lime soda, something like that. But a Radler, they use like fruit juices rather than like a lemonade. So
it was so good. It just didn't. I drank it, and the first sip, I was like, you know what? I got a buddy who doesn't drink beer. He would love this. And that's probably because it's not so much beer. It's kind of more fruit juice. So that totally makes sense.
yeah, it's not more or less. I mean, they're essentially the same thing. Shandy is like the UK English version, and Radler is a German version for the same beer. So you're good either way. But they're great in the summertime. I just typically don't drink them unless I'm in a pool.
Yeah,
like at the time.
That's a good call. That would be a great pool beer. I just got the one more. If we want to knock them all out.
Yeah, go for it, man. Then I'll just deliver my last one here. We can move along.
All right. So this is going to be my favorite for this evening. Not favorite total from Fargo, but this is my favorite for this evening. This is the Drecker Brewing Company, which has been there before. It's the actual brewery, took the tour, did all that. Fantastic little brewing company in downtown. That would be downtown Felton. Downtown Fargo. I'm staying in Felton, but it's their Ectogasm IPA. It's got a gnarly, I'm going to try and protect the computer, a gnarly little can, really cool, in a 16 ounce. Yeah, it's kind of trippy, kind of weird, kind of scary, satanic ghost it looks like on the side. I don't know. Absolutely phenomenal IPA. So phenomenal that I know no one can see this.
Oh, yeah, Drecker shirt.
I'm wearing the Drecker shirt. So Drecker Kodiak Brewing, they're kind of really cool. They've got the whole brewery has a sort of Viking theme because I guess there's a lot of that somewhere near here or something like that.
Nodak, is that North Dakota?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that Nodex from North Dakota. I don't have a map, but yeah, no. So leave it to Minnesota to have some sort of Viking stuff. But very cool. Definitely, if you make it to Fargo, go to the Drecker and Worst Beer Hall. That's the two big ones there. It's literally called the Worst Beer Hall.
Is it spelled worst or you? Is it you?
It's spelled with a U. Yeah,
the worst.
It's not the worst. It's fantastic, but highly recommend that in terms of craft beer for Fargo, North Dakota, and Minneapolis.
I wonder if there's a worst brewery. I bet there is. Quick Google search would tell me, but I'm sure there is.
Like one spelt with an O?
No, one spelled with a U. Worst brewing. Yeah,
the Worst Brewing. Yeah, dude. That's.
I thought that was the bar. The name of the bar. I didn't know it was a brewery.
Oh no, it's a brewery. I've been there. Yeah, it's fantastic. Great place.
It's the worst you ever saw.
It is the worst I've ever seen.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, surely it is. They're a huge fan of puns up here. It's crazy. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last one that I brought. That's great. Thank you for sharing that eclectic selection of North Dakota beers, my man, Minnesota, wherever where have you? They came to be. All of them. I brought a barrel of Monk's The Wizard Wit, which is basically just a Boca Raton, Florida version of a wit beer or a Belgian. Really, it's more of a Belgian than a wit, just because they pretty similar styles. But this actually tastes bready, doughy, kind of a staple like a traditional Belgian does. But it's very drinkable. The difference in this one is that you can tell there's a very strong orange peel, coriander spice, which they blatantly put right on the bottle. But obviously, it was very heavily infused in this beer, which is good for a Belgian. You get wheat beers, which are the orange, citrusy, coriander, whatnot. But then you get like the Belgian beers, which tend to stay away from that citrus. And this is kind of a nice, happy blend of the two. And because you had so many northern beers, I had to bring something that came from Florida. So that's why I wanted to show this beer off. But very good stuff. I like it. Ryan, I don't know if you ever seen it before. Loustman said that he may have seen it before, but it's got this crazy looking wizard on the front of it with like a clear label. Doesn't look like much, but it is actually a pretty good tasting beer. If you are getting into Belgians, or if you like Belgians but want something a little bit different, it's a great beer for that kind of flavor palette. So
and that's from Barrel of Monks.
Barrel of Monks, yep.
Yeah, they're on at Brew all the time.
Okay.
So I've never seen. I might not have seen that bottle. It kind of looks familiar. It looks like, well, maybe I'm thinking of Gandalf, but
it looks a lot like Gandalf.
But no, they're up there at Brew all the time. I can't remember if they've had that one specifically or not. So, but no, it looks like a great beer. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out. But okay, well we've burned through a lot of available time that we have here, just talking about all these plethora of suds and beers that we had. But I wanted to hit just real quickly the fact again that the 37th consecutive Great American Beer Fest is coming, and it is going to be here Thursday, September 20th through Saturday, September 22nd. We will be there partying with everyone at the Great American Beer Fest. So we will see you guys there on September 22nd. We are all, I believe, going to be there. But if you are wanting to be there, tickets will be on sale in about 2 days. Tickets will be on sale in about 2 days at thegreatamericanbeerfest.com. Essentially, you can just visit there. I think it's August 1. Looks like the member pre-sale goes on sale today, 31st, and then tickets will actually go on sale August 1 at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So again, August 1st, tomorrow, essentially Wednesday. Make sure that you grab your tickets to the Great American Beer Fest. Hopefully this is posted by then, and we can get you guys up and go into that. It gets you samples of 4,000 beers. You get to meet over 800 different breweries and brewers that are going to be there. So please do join us there. It will be a great time. Are you guys excited still for that? It's only a month away.
Yeah, boy, I just bought my tickets like mere moments ago, my dear boy.
Excellent. Well, I've got an Airbnb booked, and we are ready to go. So I will see you guys there.
I got to grab my go bag. Yep. You guys don't know go bags. It's fine.
That's all right. All right. We have to move on. So in essence of time, we literally have to move straight on to our geek news section, drink it on in, send it on back. We've got several stories here in a very short amount of time to get through them. Loustman, I believe that you're very, very interested in one that we will get to here in a second. But I wanted to just hint on from the last episode that we have. So I know we've been doing our bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks we do an episode. There's quite a lot of time between, so there's some substantial news that comes in between there, as well as substantial time for us to renovate our houses, brew more beers, and travel to Minnesota. It's a crazy schedule that we live on. But 2 weeks ago, when we did episode 72, we actually talked about our speculation for the No Man's Sky update. I just want to say briefly that I've spent a week playing it. I know that you have not been playing it because you've been out of the state, but
It's true.
I've been playing it for a week now, and let me tell you, the graphic changes, the gameplay changes. I know that you're going to be starting it, and this is a fun tidbit for anybody out there that's thinking about going in. If you haven't gone in on No Man's Sky and you're thinking about it, do it now. It's a great time to do it, or do it in the next couple months or whatever. After this update, every single week, every really couple days since this launched on the 25th of July, which was literally like 6 days ago at this point, they have been sending out updates that are fixing bugs and correcting things, all for the better. So it has reminded me as a I am 80 hours in or so on this game, and it is bringing me right back to when I first started. It's a brand new mode of discovery. It's all new features and fun things, and so much content that I never would have imagined could have existed in any game, let alone a game like this that's been out for 2 years. So I truly think that this game will go down as one of the more unique things that's ever happened in gaming. And if you're at all interested in a space simulator where you can have some fun with your friends and really feel like you're building something and doing something every day, no matter what it is when you're playing it, this is a game for you. And even if you're not a big space fan, you still check it out. So love all the updates. Some of my favorite things are third-person view, how you get to model your character, the new ships, the new missions, the new planets, the new visuals. It's just it's exactly what I wanted in the game to begin with, and it just keeps surprising me. So that's all I wanted to say. But did you guys have any questions before we move on to the next topic?
I just got to say that I'm real excited about that. I can't wait to fly in on a connecting flight and then sit at home, get into another sort of flight craft, and just commute again. I am really excited about it. That was sarcasm. No one bit the hook on that.
I got you. I'm just saying you're not going to be flying for about 45 minutes to maybe an hour after you start the games. So manage your expectations. Unless you're with me. If you can get in with me, if I can get in with you, if you get me into your game, I'll just slide you all the things you need. But until that happens, you're going to be pretty hard pressed. So,
Cooking the books. All right. I like it.
I'm down to cook the books. I'll get you off that rock, man.
Okay, excellent. Well then, yeah, I like it. Scuba Town on the rise. It will be there.
Yeah, man. Ryan, you got any thoughts?
Nope. I'm excited to play it though.
Yeah, well, we got to get you on board, man. But it does take up a lot of time just to understand it. But it will be fun. It's one of those games that once you have an initial understanding of how it works, you could, unlike it, just like Battlefront 2, how you can just dip in, dip out. Like you don't have to have 1,000 hours into it to get the hang of it. Once you get it going, like once you stir the pot and you kind of understand the mechanics of it, it is one of those games, I'm already telling you, with multiplayer where we can just jump in, wreak some havoc, go do something crazy and jump out and no problem. Like you don't have to have, I'm trying to equate it to something. It's probably like more like a Madden or something where I guess you can just jump in, jump out, or like a Halo where you can just play a multiplayer 4-way and then leave and then come back to it without having to feel like you have to retrain yourself on everything. Like once you get it going, it's easy to just dip in, dip out.
I love how you just equated Madden to No Man's Sky because now I'm sold.
Well, that's my take on it. I've never played I haven't played Madden since like 2005, so I don't know what they are now. But
New one goes on sale tomorrow, I believe.
Does it really?
Yeah. It's coming out. It's either tomorrow or today, I think. Yeah. Oh boy, I just spent 60 of Ryan's dollars and I feel dirty about it. I feel real bad because he's like, let me grab my phone. Let me just make sure I got this on the way.
Look at the Amazon account here and see what's going on there. Yeah, let's check that out.
Ryan, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna get so stuck in the new one. Antonio Brown's on the cover. I mean, how can I not buy it?
Isn't he a Steelersman?
He's a Steeler.
That's what I'm saying. A Steelersman.
They're not Steelersmen, Donnie. They're Steelers.
Well, why not?
Got
All
it.
right.
I mean, they're men, but they're not Steelersmen. They're Steelers. It's just,
all right. Well, Clone Wars is back, baby.
it's just Stellars.
Whoa.
That's all it is.
Don't care, Ryan.
Are they
Clone
in
Wars is back.
They're in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
All of them. They're in this.
Technically.
I mean, Where you at on that, Ryan? Where we at on that one, dipshit?
August 2nd, Louse Man. 2 days. Thank you.
I'm kidding. Jeez.
Clone Wars is back, baby.
What?
Ryan, are you familiar at all with the Wars of the Clones, the Clone Wars?
I feel like the least geekiest person on this podcast. I've never.
That's because you
Well,
are.
you do know a football player's name, so
That's true.
yeah, that'll get you.
We call him Badman.
We could talk about Le'Veon Bell going to a strip club and his girlfriend putting it on Twitter last night, but we're not going to go down sports avenue right now.
Who dis? New phone.
A who to who?
Who to who? All right,
anyways,
full circle.
Ryan, what I'm trying to explain to you is the Clone Wars was a cartoon spin-off of the story of the quote unquote Clone Wars. That if you followed Star Wars throughout the saga, the prequels included, post the new sequels and the original trilogy all hinted at these things called the Clone Wars. So it was one of the first shows that came out. There was a movie that accompanied this for the new Star Wars canon, and it was basically dropped after 6 seasons, right, Loss? I mean, keep me honest here.
So it's my understanding that originally it was supposed to be almost like a continuing series for a hot minute. And actually, I heard that George Lucas wanted to do that even like several years earlier. He wanted that to be rolling, so it would be building up hype before they dove into the actual Clone Wars movie. But what ended up happening is, like a mid 2000s to late 2000s release of that, and then it went for a hot minute, and they put it, they had to put it out to pasture after 6 or 7, something like that, seasons. And then they put it on Netflix. They talked about removing it from Netflix, and people lost it, and they just went crazy. So they left it on Netflix, which you should still be able to find it today. And that is all the history I have on the Clone Wars series.
But no, Lost, that's exactly right. That is the history of that. What I liked about this is that this announcement was made at Comic-Con. So basically what they're doing is, to Lous's point, they were just ramping up into the war. It was technically 2.5 or 2 odd years into this Clone War, which is where the robots...
Separatist.
So the Separatist army was fighting against the New Republic, which was essentially the pre-Empire, which is Darth Sidious and Palpatine and all them. So this is the culmination of them basically taking over from, like, the robot army is trying to overthrow all these other planets to enslave them or whatever. And the New Republic, which is the start of the Clone Troopers, which is the first official stormtrooper that was kind of fighting this battle. So it stopped right before Revenge of the Sith. So if you look at it in progression of the movies, you had the Phantom Menace, which was episode 1. You had Attack of the Clones is the prequel, number 2. Man, it's been so long since I've seen them. And then Revenge of the Sith is the prequel, number 3. And that's when Darth Vader makes the full turn. Order 66 happens, where all the clones kill all the Jedi, yada, yada. Not all. Obviously not all. But this story ended a lot right before Revenge of the Sith and all that stuff happened. So the time period that they're operating in is very tight, and I think it's going to be a lot of flashbacks, a lot of intro, a lot of story building, and then it should lead right up to Revenge of the Sith, which will be interesting because that's when Anakin becomes Darth Vader. So you'll see a little bit more Anakin, a little bit more why he's so evil and why things turn like they did. But it should be really cool. So Ryan, I know you don't know a whole lot about this, but there's some really important stuff that's going to happen here. There's some clones that have fought against or removed their chips so that they don't kill the Jedi and they do their own thing. There's the Siege of Mandalore, which is the planet that Boba Fett's armor came from, a Mandalorian set of armor, which is crucial to the whole story of Star Wars and why the Mandalorians are so badass. It was part of this siege that takes place, and how Darth Maul is now into the mix. And I know that not everybody here has seen the most recent Star Wars, but I'm not going to say anything about that. So there's a huge tie-in to a lot of prequel era stuff, a lot of post-sequel and post-original trilogy stuff. So I listed some facts here. They're not really relevant, to everything, but there's movies made. Every movie that has basically been made in the Star Wars saga or Skywalker saga, that is now 8 movies strong, has referenced the Clone Wars or the prequels in one way or another, and they're almost synonymous because the prequels and the Clone Wars were happening at around the same time, roughly, 2 and 3 at least. But There's characters, there's callbacks, there's pod racer flags, there's Darth Vader cameos, all sorts of Akbar. There's Felucia, which is like one of the coolest planets that you can fight on from the Battlefront games, which we've referenced before. These are the late 90s Star Wars Battlefront games that were available on Xbox. And man, they're just a lot in here. So, and Maul, who's like one of the coolest bad guys there ever was. So just a lot in here, but I wanted to throw it in briefly just to talk about as we're gearing up for episode 9, because not to make another tangent here. So not only was Clone Wars announced at San Diego Comic-Con, which is about a week and a half ago from today, but episode 9 literally starts filming tomorrow. So episode 9, as in not The Last Jedi, but the one after that, J.J. Abrams, clincher here, going to bring it all together, starts filming tomorrow. So I say all this stuff to start some Tashi Station speculation with you guys, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. If you think the Clone Wars can reunite the fans, Ryan, not even knowing about the Clone Wars or that series there, how that makes you feel. I mean, I just want to get your thoughts, and then we can wrap this guy up for this evening.
It's absolutely safe to assume that they're going to call this the Second Jedi, correct?
No, they're not going to call episode 9 the Second Jedi.
Or the second to last Jedi. How about that?
Nope.
Or the Return of the Last Jedi.
No,
Great.
not going to happen.
Big tongue twister there. Yep.
It could be.
Real bad. No. So yeah, the reintroduction of the Clone Wars in the animated series, that's fantastic. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it. A little nervous because, I hope it's just not like 100%. Well, I guess I do and I don't. I hope I'm neutral in the situation about it being consisting of just like flashbacks and weird stuff and stuff like that. Like the one thing that I loved about the series that they did every single time is no matter what was going on in the universe, you saw this really weird slice, like a very small piece of what was going on, and it just built so much speculation that you're like, oh man, the stormtroopers don't just run down hallways and die. Like sometimes they have like conflicts and they don't know what to do and stuff. Like that sort of like stuff is what sold me on the Clone Wars, the series anyways. So if
it gave a lot of background info on the clones and why they weren't just humanless robots. They were legitimate people.
Absolutely. And it just provided so much more depth. And that's, I think, why I have to say that's my favorite time period of all of Star Wars is the Clone Wars era, because it's so cool just to see these big fights and they're over the top and they have to think outside the box. And, if they can maintain that with this upcoming season, it obviously would fire me back up because Lord knows I was butthurt from Last Jedi. I think everyone who listens to the show knows that, and I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you out there. I don't like it.
No, that's good. But see, that's why I raised the point. Like, and I want to hear Ryan's thoughts too, just because like I really do think that the Clone Wars do unite fans because they are tied into all of the lore. The lore. I mean, Obi-Wan said it when he had Luke in his pedophile den, and he brought Luke over and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "I fought with your father in the Clone Wars, and he was the most excellent and skilled pilot I've ever seen. And he was such a, great fighter and yada, yada. And, he was Anakin was this amazing person." That's the story that we're seeing. And that was in the 70s, right? I mean, that's crazy that now with the technology and animation and CGI that we have, we can tell the story in a way that, George Lucas in the 70s couldn't have imagined. But we talk about story building on this very podcast in several of our episodes of Star Wars and how the story was set then by Alec Guinness, this amazing, well-known actor acting as this weird wizard hermit in this first Star Wars movie. And now you kind of see it come to fruition. And this is the end of that story. I want to see it. I want to see where it goes. And why does that lightsaber end up where it does? Like, that's what I want to see. So, Ryan?
I just don't want to see disappointed fans, to be honest with you. I know they start filming tomorrow. How do they tie it in? Myself coming on board late in the game, I've not seen the Clone Wars on Netflix. I probably should if it's still available. Last man, thank you.
Yep.
Your girls would like Clone Wars too, actually, because
Oh my god, yeah,
they understand
kid-friendly.
enough of it. Yeah, it's a show designed for kids, but it deals with politics and the good and bad, and it's not like Rebels where there's a lesson to be learned. It's like it really is a pretty good show for.
I think
fans.
Madison would pick up on it more than Cora. Cora is like still really into My Little Pony, which I'll throw this little nugget out there. August 16th, My Little Pony is being discontinued, and she is going to shit when she can't watch those. There's like 6 seasons. There's like 120 episodes that she's not going to have access to after this. So,
we'll tell her that My Little Porgy is right on the corner, around the corner.
My Little she loves porgies. I think Madison would appreciate it. I don't know if Cora will. She's into Scooby Doo too. But I really hope that as they film this, I know Ryan Johnson's gone. He's gonna, a new director, of course, telling a new story. Just hope that it blends well together with the other episodes.
Well,
honestly,
JJ did 7, and then he's doing 9. So Ryan did 8.
But that's what I'm saying. Did 7 or did 8 really do 7 justice? I mean, that's where now they have to go back to Ryan Johnson's creation and say, well, fuck, what do we do from here and move forward? So that's where the interesting part's going to come into play. So
you think that sentence came up in like a screenwriting room? They're like, well, fuck, what do we got to do now?
Probably.
Like that kicked it off. Like that was in some guy's itinerary. He's like, say this line and then be like, hope someone has an idea. Like pause for ideas.
Where the fuck do we go from here?
The agenda on that spreadsheet just said ideation ? Hey, Jim, could we get a solo Blackboard sesh out of you? Yeah, we're just gonna pop in after lunch. We'll have donuts. It'll be cool. Everybody's cool. We're all gonna have some fun.
I'm
Bring
still
some
hoping.
coffee. Why not?
Oh, don't get me started about coffee. I gotta get my mug.
Max back.
How great would it be if it's like Rick and Morty, where he writes in his notes, plan to trail off, and then goes, That's fantastic.
That's good. Well, yeah, I think all that's good. Ryan, I really do suggest that before this series comes out, which it'll be on the Disney streaming service. Why wouldn't it be, right? We've talked about the Favreau thing. We've talked about this show. Obviously, they're going to say, hey, listen, you, Richard, do you like Disney? I mean, do you like Star Wars? Get the service. You'll get all this content, and maybe you'll even do a couple of those movies that we thought, like the Boba Fett or like the who knows? That'll be like Netflix does, Netflix only movies. They'll probably do some of these Star Wars stories that are going to be only Disney streaming service movies, and they'll be good quality movies, but they'll probably be a lesser caliber, than a $500 million box office smash that the regular Star Wars series are. So I'm excited for that series. I'm excited for that service. I'm excited for Episode 9 and for the Clone Wars. So. Can't wait.
And to what you just said, think about it. They come off with a movie that develops some new characters and things like that, and they put it on that streaming service. If one of those gets hit so many times with positive feedback, think about the expansion from there just in those movies alone.
Sure.
I mean, I think the Star Wars world, is endless. But you have to have a good story. You have to have good storytelling and play true to the original piece that everybody knows. That's where maybe Episode 8 missed out, and hopefully brings back in Episode 9.
I have to say that with the announcement of all this, I have the same excitement that I had for 8. Again, which is fantastic. I mean, that's great. I can answer the question that you asked earlier. It has reignited my fascination and anticipation for more stuff. I mean, more Star Wars stuff, because that would be great.
Well, and you know what it's done for me too is I went back and I watched The Last Jedi literally like last night or the night before or whatever. But I was looking for cues to the Clone Wars in The Last Jedi, and you could find a couple. And it wasn't just I didn't just find cues to the Clone Wars, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but there's things like, well, first off,
you're talking about pool cues from that era.
No, I'm talking about mirrors and echoes from the the actual prequel series or the original trilogy. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if you picked up on, I'm sure you did, but Kylo Ren, right before they fired all the lasers on Luke and the holograph Luke standing on the salt fields, and he said, "Well, why don't we bring back the clones?" And that's a direct reference from mocking Hux's army and talking about the clones and the Clone Wars. So like that was a cool little line that they threw in there. But it's not just things like that. I mean, there's like Luke threw his lightsaber at the very beginning over his shoulder when Rey handed it to him. But he did that once before too, when Palpatine told him to use it to strike him down. He threw his lightsaber away like it was nothing. And he went up to the Emperor with no weapon, with no power, with nothing to fight him with, because he said, "I'm not going to deal with this." Well, when Luke did it on Octo 2 in The Last Jedi, he did it because he said, "I'm not a part of that Jedi Order anymore. It's not a part of me, and I'm no longer dealing with it," which was a almost direct opposite of what he said to Palpatine when he threw the lightsaber the first time. So like that little thing was interesting to see the correlation between there. And he's thrown the lightsaber a couple times when he didn't want to deal with it. And that it just, those little callbacks actually happen in The Last Jedi, and it brings it back to all of the other older movies. So I watched it again with a different light to try to pick up on stuff like that. And you could find some things.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Was there ever, so there was a callback to, hey, I'm a Jedi, but now I cut myself off?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He specifically said he's closed himself. She said it. You've closed yourself off.
Well,
to the
no,
Force.
she said it, but was there ever any information that once one in particular had the Force within them, they could close themselves off from that? I guess that's maybe like
Luke did say it too when Kylo struck him down in the temple or whatever. He said, after that, I was so scared and hurt by it.
I guess I get that part, but what I'm saying is like, all right, so take Harry Potter for example. Like Harry Potter could not be a wizard. Like he couldn't choose to just not be a wizard. Can Jedi choose not to? Can Jedi really choose not to use the Force? Maybe that's why people were so pissed off about Episode 8.
You're asking if Jedis can choose to be Muggles, is what you're saying,
right? But in the same sense, we find out that Leia has the Force within her
and is a witch.
So she just cut herself off until she blew out of a spaceship?
No, she just wasn't trained. She never had to rely on the Force until she needed to. That's the beauty of the Force, is that you don't have to act on it. It still can be.
You just made my mind think about all the things that it comes to being a Jedi. Like when you're a Jedi, like you kind of know and explore it, but I wouldn't think that you'd be able to cut it off, because there was a blind guy that tried to use the Force. Yeah, right. Exactly. And he kind of had the sense that he wanted, but like he was never.
He was sensitive to it. He couldn't harness it.
He couldn't harness it. Yeah. So one harnessing it can also cut it off.
Well, when you're
just asking provoking questions, that's all.
No, well, and it's a little bit subjective too, because it's never been really explained to that detail. So you have to assume that these Jedi or these Force wielders kind of make their own power. But you every movie you see a different side of the Force, and that's been the case since the original trilogy, the prequels, and now the sequels, the sequel trilogy, if you will. So every single time you see the Force, you see it in a different way. You get something a little bit more progressive, which just goes to show that to George Lucas's original fascination and story arcing and storytelling is that you really don't know what it is, and slowly you've learned more and more and more about it. Will it all be unfolded and divulged in Episode 9? Highly doubtful, because J.J. Abrams is the king of the mystery box, but we'll see. I mean, we'll just have to see.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams did Episode 7, correct?
Correct.
At the end, when she's there looking at Luke and he's on that mountain, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it was Abrams' intention for the next movie to have Luke throw the lightsaber? Or was that Rian Johnson's vision only?
I think that shot was filmed already, but I don't think the intent was to have it like exactly like it played out. I don't know that though.
Just a question, thought-provoking question. I don't know. This is again, I'm not the biggest into it, but I've seen it. I kind of hearing you guys talk. I got to ask the question. Now that you're bringing up some other things, I got to ask the question.
Yeah.
because-
Lousman, what do you think?
I'm fairly certain they all graduated from Hogwarts. I mean, that we can all agree.
Voldemort is dead, but is he really? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, he died under a bus station, dude. We were all there. In any event, it's interesting. Those are some good questions. I'm still just really, really apprehensive to drink the Kool-Aid and just say, you know what, this is going to be cool, and I can't wait, and they're going to do a really good job. Like it's going to be the end to a lot of things, but I don't know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know a lot. I think I'm just I'm amidst the unbeknown.
Well, I had really good faith in what JJ was going to deliver with episode 7. I was happy with the product. I mean, I know it's a retread and Death Star Point 2 and a lot of stuff and Han Solo dying and all that kind of crap. You know, like I didn't love a lot of that part, but it felt like a good piece of the story to me. I hope that whatever 9 looks like, it wraps up in a way that the fans accept it and the fans feel good about it. It does a little bit of fan service, but it also tells the story. Just tell a good story. And I think that JJ is very good about doing that. So yeah. I have good faith. It'll be a year and a half until we know Good Boys, but any other final thoughts to wrap us up?
Actually fight in space, please. Like, don't just like fly
don't
around.
Don't just do a slow chase.
Yeah, don't just be a donger about it. Please just actually like fight amidst the wars that take place in the stars. That's my thought.
Got it.
Yeah.
Ryan, anything to close us out?
And don't run out of fuel.
Ugh, space fuel. Don't
just get it at the casino. Just get it at the casino. It'll be fine. Just
put some solar panels on the side and just let
it's even worse.
Take care of itself.
That happens in space. You know why space shuttles are white, right? Because they go fast. They actually get. I don't know. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Google,
all right.
Everyone listening, Google why space shuttles are white, and then realize how dumb that stupid scene was for that entire movie. Sorry.
And on that note,
I'm just saying.
We'll go ahead. Good questions, good conversation by all. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. So, boys, where can the good people find you, Mr. Lousman?
I can be found at Mr. Lousman on Twitter.
All right. And Mr. Rye Guy, where can they find you?
Yeah, definitely. Brewboy813 on Instagram and Twitter. Plus, also, you should check out our Facebook page, Craft Brews and Geek News. And Lousman's going to post some photos, so be staying tuned for that.
That's right. Yeah, to Ryan's point, it's a Facebook group. You can actually ask to join it. I think we're up to 75 or so people that are in the group, and it is a wonderful group. We all talk about craft beer, geek news, Star Wars stuff, and everything else that's happening in the geek pulp culture. That is, what we like to talk about. So we hope to see everybody at the Great American Craft Beer Fest. Again, by the time this is out, you can buy your tickets. I think they're only $80. It is what I've heard, the one beer fest you have to go to before you die. Why not make it 2018? It sounds like a great time to us. We will definitely be there, and we'll see you there. You can find me at Brewmasters Club on Twitter, Instagram, and Craft Brews Geek News on YouTube, or the Facebook group Craft Brews and Geek News. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. Please do continue to leave a review or a like, whatever you can, if you're listening to us on YouTube or on iTunes. And Ryan, as we say at the end of every episode,
never run out of space gas.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah,
all right.
I like that.
Laus, hey, Laus, why don't you take us home with Mr. Moose Man?
Yep, here he is. Wait, no.
It's Christmas in July, everybody.
Batteries
Christmas.
are dying.
Christmas in July, everyone. Have a good night. We love you. Bye.
Merry Christmas to all.
It is July.
It's fine.
You've been listening to the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. Grab a beer with the guys and be sure to subscribe to catch additional content. Add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. Chat with the guys on Twitter at Brewmasters Club and Facebook and online at www.brewmasters.club. Cheers!